has graciously asked us to do something that is wonderfully revolutionary for what we're doing here. We have not done this before. And now we get a chance to have an interview talking with him, and I am honored to be so lucky to have him. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming our next presenter, guest, Mear. Have a seat, Mear. Wonderful to have you here. Well, it is a delight to have you here, and those of us at an event that stands for freedom and liberty welcome you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Am I plugged in? Yeah.
Yes, I think so. I think we got that, and we want to make sure we're working right.
No, we're good.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started. I know you were born in 71, the Redwoods, and being able to do some things and worked as an artist, a graffiti artist, etc.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I was born under a couple of hippies in 1971 up in Santa Cruz, and my mother was an artist. So we moved to Los Angeles in 73, 74, and I've grown up there, and I've witnessed some of the harshest aspects of city life, ghetto, the places where graffiti comes from. And it's been, since an early age, it was really interesting to me to kind of be that type of artist that goes out and identifies what's wrong and paints a big red X on it metaphorically, you know, help people identify things that they're unable to see. You know?
Now, I know you're making a progress and a journey on the way to being an anarchist / voluntarist, etc., and you're kind of in that area right now, and you've done some amazing things I want you to tell people about. In 2000, you had some political paintings about the Bush Twin Towers, I understand. Tell us about that.
Yeah. I used to be a contributor to Herb magazine back in the days, a Los Angeles culture-based magazine, and I had the back page every month. And for years, for roughly 3 years, I was, putting my art there. And as September 11th came about, I woke up that morning, turned the television on, and couldn't believe my eyes. And the first thing that sunk in right off the bat was, I have I guess as an artist, I have an uncanny ability to see truth in the matter, and I could tell right away that something wrong had gone down, that this wasn't realistic, this was some illusion or some, it just wasn't what they said it was. And as they came crumbling down, I felt like a huge transition in our reality just took place. And it was inspiring to me because I had already, I had been interested in, well, I guess some of this art that I do originated when I started reading books like Behold a Pale Horse by Bill Cooper, and listening to comedy from Bill Hicks, George Carlin. That
can be dangerous,
Yeah, and to see other people making comments on what's wrong or what was beautiful, actually, that other people have been trying to destroy. To see that people were able to live their life and be a medium of that consciousness, I wanted to plug in, and so anyways, this Bush piece got me kicked off the magazine. I guess their advertisers threatened to pull out advertising funds if they continued to support art like this, and it seemed,
coming from us, we'd say congratulations.
Yeah, well, I seemed to go from 2001 till about 2011. I had a very struggling experience as an artist. God, I don't even know where to start.
What was it like?
Well, I was used to just being the popular graffiti artist in Los Angeles that was able to express these more radical ideas, and people would be like, no, he's a graffiti artist. All right, cool for you, man. We'll support that. But as soon as September 11th happened and I tried to do it, it was like, whoa, And so I was ostracized from the fine art world that I had been digging into. I was one of the first graffiti artists in Los Angeles to actually get into the fine art galleries. And a lot of this, it's like the floor fell out from under me. And I suffered for a good almost a decade there. And it ingrained a deeper sense of service to this idea.
I like that, a deeper sense of service, because many of us go through that kind of challenge where we see, okay, we've been attacked, we've been hurt by others, but you help to turn that into a positive. How'd you do that?
Well, I think it came from just, just wanting to see change and not seeing it occurring with the powers that be or the people that were, pushing for it. So I started painting images that would help provoke that within people and inspire it. And, I think that, from interesting things, I'll be painting a mural somewhere and looking up in the sky and seeing chemtrails, and someone will walk by and be like, "What are you looking at? You should be painting." I'm like, "Oh, I'm just checking out the chemtrail." And they're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "You didn't see that?" And I'm talking like 2012, people are asking me this. I'm like, it's been this way for a good decade. You haven't seen this before? And so it's a huge joy to to live a life where you're able to express what you actually think and see. And I think that's part of being free. Part of the experience and the purpose of freedom is to communicate the truth and to help each other.
Exactly, helping each other and being able to communicate in that way. Now, another painting that you did, I really like what I have to smile when I hear the title of this, Salty Old Crackers. I think we have a picture of that somewhere that we can pull up. Salty Old Crackers. Now, I have never seen it. You and I have not met. My mind is racing right now to think about that in the political context. Talk to us about that as they go ahead and bring it up.
Think of the old Nabisco cracker box, saltine crackers. I used to eat those with my tomato soup as a kid. Yeah. I just felt like, this is a ridiculous cabinet we got here, the George Bush cabinet, and I picture them sitting around the world with a bunch of little red flag toothpicks sticking it in the globe of cities they're going to go destroy next, and munching on some crackers and, chopping it up, thinking about their New World Order plans. So that's some of my humor, is just identifying the most extreme, offensive, but true, not just like, I'm not just trying to, destroy something. I'm trying to cook it down to like its raw content and expose that to people.
Yeah, I think you just hit on a very important point. We're not trying to destroy.
No.
What we're trying to do is say, here's a problem that we see, and we're using the artistic, the style, whatever it is that's our unique ability, and you've done that. Now, you did a lot of that also with the Occupy movement.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you did there and the results of that.
I was actually on the 101 freeway driving home one day from the east side from a painting gig I was doing, and I saw these people up on a freeway overpass protesting.
And by the way, let me interrupt you a moment here. I think we're going to switch over to this mic. We're getting some banging around a little bit there.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Not a problem.
Yeah, so
Give us a mic check on that other one here.
Mic check.
There we go. Great. Go for it.
So I was driving home on my local freeway, and I saw a group of protesters hanging off the freeway overpass. So I ran up to a Kinko's, printed out one of my images, glued it down to a board, and got out there with them. And go home that evening on Facebook, I see this post, and it's like, "That's the homie Mear 1 up on the bridge today." And just very inspiring to get out there and participate and feel the love of my own city appreciating me, doing what they either can't do, or they don't have the time to do, or they're afraid to do it. Mm-hmm. And so, there's something about taking your skill and applying it to inspire others to participate. And I think that in life, a lot of people feel like they need permission, and I feel like what art can do for people is it is a powerful, it's a powerful creation that proves to people that time and passion are worth it, that something comes of it, and that I can inspire that permission, that self-permissive attitude in other people.
Giving yourself permission to do that. Now, in your work, I understand that when I was talking to your partner, Candace, beforehand, she was very helpful in giving me some information, that you resonated with a person that came up with a concept that I studied in undergraduate school about how we think. Leon Festinger. Does that name mean anything to you? Because he came up with a concept called cognitive dissonance. Tell us about your work and how that would relate to Leon Festinger's cognitive dissonance.
Well, I'm not super familiar with him. But, I felt like part of my awakening to things was abrupt and disruptive, and it takes you and turns you upside down. And I wanted to once again, paint this red X and identify where the issue and the problem is. And I felt that, from everything I had been learning about, that America is a cesspool of cognitive dissonance. It's
And how do you feel that way? Tell us more about that.
well, I think that people are unable to look at our world, our reality, and see things as they are. They ignore them. They put on horse blinders and pretend that everything's okay. And when they're presented with it, they have a nervous breakdown. And so I guess that's what I'm trying to do with my art is give that individual a nervous breakdown, because there's already I don't need to do that for my support group. My support group sees it and they just love it. It's like it's real art for them. But the effect it has on people who can't relate to it is fascinating. I like to see people totally have meltdowns over it and argue and fight, or have a change of attitude or heart.
Yeah, that's actually healthy.
Yeah. So that's basically where that came from, was just this knee-jerk reaction, horse blinder, kind of get in line reality that I was critiquing.
Now, I want to have the audience get a chance to see some more of the art that you've done. We've seen a little bit of it and talked to you about it. But first, before we go any farther, I understand Mear, M-E-A-R, is really an acronym for a wonderful phrase that I love. Tell us about that.
It stands for manifest, energy, and radiate. And,
manifest, energy, and radiate.
Yeah, here I am at Anarchapulco, and I don't know if I'm 100% anarchist. I'm definitely left of left. I'm kind of off the branch, but as a young kid, we were very destructive and applied our emotional reactions to our surrounding. It evolved into graffiti. It started out with setting buildings on fire and breaking car windows and throwing rocks at cop cars on the freeway, and just really like acting out emotionally, just acting out towards this monstrous system that as a teenager I wasn't going to jail per se, but I was constantly getting arrested and having to get bailed out and spend a weekend in prison or something long term. But to see what people were going through for just being creative was infuriating, and a lot of anger fueled me for a long time. And what I've kind of come into now is a new source of inspiration. I've been hearing the term spiritual anarchy, because a lot of spiritual shit is kind of hippy-dippy, and it doesn't really connect and ground out.
Yeah,
and,
not real world.
Yeah, and but I do believe there are some principles that come from that reality and that culture that are so wonderful and valuable that I'd like to help inspire that in people, and go out, find the experience, kind of artistically document it, and regurgitate it to the audience,
Well, I think you're probably, as Larkin Rose say, most of us are anarchists and we don't even know it. And by anarchy, we mean peace, love, and anarchy, as Jeff Berwick would describe it. Matter of fact, if I could ask you a couple of questions, audience, I think you could decide where he is right now. Do you believe that it's okay to live your life peacefully, doing whatever you want, as long as you don't harm someone else?
That seems like the whole point of it.
Well, I'd say you're pretty much an anarchist then.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really that simple.
I used to tag the A on the wall of the circle just because I wanted to flip my bird at the system,
Exactly.
So, I identify with it greatly. I guess I'm one that doesn't like to hold a term too close to heart. I like to be more of a chameleon in a sense. A peaceful, loving chameleon.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that, because I think saying I am an X can be really bad. I don't call myself an anarchist, although I embrace those terms. I embrace myself as someone who really loves to live life and help other people to achieve their goals without violence, etc. Well, that's kind of wordy, so people will narrow it to voluntarist or libertarian or peaceful anarchist or spiritual anarchist. I think we get tied up in the labels. The idea is living life really as you have been. And evolving, using the craft that you have, using the unique talents that you have to bring about good to the world peacefully, and helping and kind of rub it in a very gentle, peaceful way into those that are the, how'd you call it, the old salty crackers?
Right.
that kind of thing. Now, what I want to do is we want to talk about some of the paintings that you've done here. We graciously really appreciate what you've done. And if you don't mind, I was thinking you and I could kind of walk over and just look at this one right here a little bit, and the others as well, and have you describe to us some of that, what it is, and what's going on there in your own words.
Sure.
And if we get the cameras kind of move this way, it'll be a little bit of a challenge. We haven't done this over here.
I like to make up words in my own language, and I definitely don't speak Spanish, even though I really want to. But I kind of made up a word for it. I don't know if it totally makes sense, but I call it mundo madre.
Say that again real slowly.
Mundo madre.
Mundo madre, okay.
Like Earth Mother. Or World Mother, I guess it would translate as. And I wanted to evoke some of that feminine goddess, natural earth, pure organic energy into this conference here.
Talk to us about the chakra, the third eye that you have on there.
Right. Well, the third eye has always been a symbol in our ancient past, in our distant ancient past, of our human consciousness, but also the ability to see on another frequency without our eyes, another type of sight that allows us to connect on a more spiritual level.
Nice. Well, let's come over here to this side of the stage, and I'd like to get your views on evacuate the state. Now, that one sounds good. Matter of fact, a theme that we're using. Talk to us about that and the different phrases that you have there, what they mean to you.
Yeah. Well, I love the terms evacuate the state and brave the future. I've heard Berwick talking about that, and it really excites me. I like a good, strong statement. I think those are important, just like the art, you know? I think a lot of times my art is inspired by a quick saying, you know. These things evoke a vision. This apocalyptic future we're living in right now. I used to, as a kid, play in places that look like this: broken down buildings, shattered concrete. I believe the mayor of New York, maybe it was Ed Koch or previous to him, said, where you find broken windows, you're going to find graffiti, then you're going to find drugs and prostitution, and it's going to amount to crime.
And I think Rudy Giuliani said that in New York as well.
Yeah, and I think that it's actually the opposite. Where you find problems that are unattended or not dealt with properly, you're going to find graffiti, because it's a reactive art form. I think that all these kids generally would love to be Picassos and Van Goghs and Salvador Dali's, but there's no opportunity when you come from the ghetto to become that, and you just get more and more oppressed. And so this has been a huge source of my inspiration for many years in my paintings, is to describe this place that exists, this kind of nowhere zone. Everyone knows where these places are, they exist, and it's always been fascinating to me how the homeless are treated, how the poor are treated, and evacuate the state, brave the future.
What do we have written over here on the side, over on the right side?
Oh yeah, a little "We Are Change."
Yeah.
You know?
And where did you get that?
Some of my daily nutrition. I wake up, I watch some of my fellow peers here who have their own YouTube programs. Luke, yes,
Adam, indeed, Luke,
Jeff, on and on. And so, this is kind of like I scan the internet for my daily news and information, and I sit down and start painting. A little tea and trees first, and then I sit down and start painting, and it's like I'm in this headspace that it's very enjoyable to be there. You know, I feel like I'm in the Matrix suddenly.
I like that. Well, matter of fact, I appreciate you say that, because I wanted to go into a little bit more. How do you feed your mind? What YouTube channels are you watching? What are you reading? How do you nourish your mind and your soul on a daily basis?
I'm deeply fascinated in physics. I am no scholar of that at all, but I've been reading my whole life. I love to understand the fundamental nature of what reality is, the idea that nothing is solid, that I'm just a bunch of vibrating locations that have agreed to associate together, and we all are, and everything is that. And that is so profound. To have these realizations. So it's like I plug in with Nassim Harriman, who's one of my favorite physicists. I check out some Brian Forrester, who does hidden Inca tours, and he connects with all of his world-renowned archaeologists when they talk about our ancient cultures.
It's on YouTube?
Like I said, I read a lot of books. I'm currently into ancient Indian literature, like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. These are, to understand the roots of humanity is crucial right now because there's very few people that can understand how complicated our history is. And we look back, to Egypt, like supposedly 3,500 years ago, and we're like, this is the origin of our culture. And I believe that we are much, 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 much older than that, and that we've experienced catastrophe after catastrophe in our history, and here we are again, about to start it all over again.
Yeah, I think it's important because as I understand that you are educating yourself all the time, going forward. Even though you dropped out of high school, you're still going to school, but it's the school that you create.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was in high school and I had gangs pulling guns on me. I'm from a graffiti crew called CBS and WCA, and these are famous Los Angeles graffiti crews, and we were the alternative rebels to the gang scene, or the drug pushers, or the pimps and prostitutes, or whatever you would find in 1984 in Los Angeles, and so yeah.
Interesting. Well, thank you. Well, now, of course, we want to see this one right here. And I understand this one has been bid upon already, and so we've got some money going forward, but we could have more. This could fit very nicely into your home. Tell us a little bit about this, what this hand represents. This hand represents, and so we understand it more.
It's just a hand coming from the abstract, coming down to help someone who just freed themselves out of the monotony of this urban decay that we have become slowly. So it's called Help. But not help as in help me. It's just like help is here, help,
I like that. Help, H-E-L-P. Very good. Good. And when I look at this, I was thinking of the Petraeus Towers in Malaysia. Is that what it is?
Oh, wow, yeah. Some people say that. Some people call it the Watts Towers. So to me, I call them skyscrapers because I'm literally scraping the paint. It's a reductive process where I smash a bunch of paint on here and I immediately remove it. And
excellent. We love your artwork. It is gorgeous. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, I want to come back over here when we have our seats again, and I think they can bring up some of your paintings, some of your work here. If we can you see the monitor okay from there?
Absolutely.
Okay, and that way you can describe some of that to us. I think that's up there on the screen. And talk to us, what's the name of this one that we're looking at now?
This is a piece called False Prophets.
False Prophets. Talk to us about that.
It's one of those pieces that I'm describing where I've identified an issue that I want to talk about, and I've tried to articulate it in a symbolic form, in a metaphoric form, and in a very grounded source of reality. I'm using elements like everything from the Masonic floor to the bill on the pyramid on the back of our dollar bill with the all-seeing eye, and I have the banking cartel around the monopoly table playing it in the backs of the working class on humanity, and they're pulling their power from a source of dark energy that is where this all-seeing eye is emanating from, and this dilapidated world that is the byproduct of being enslaved by these people.
Oh, I like it. I like it. By the way, this is really cool. I'm enjoying sitting down with an artist, getting a chance to look at paintings and then have the artist himself describe it. That is cool. Do we have another one that we can pull up? I think we have quite a few in there, and I'm looking forward to that. Okay, let's do that. And if we can go can we go full screen on that? We can. Are we in PowerPoint? That's the F5 key. There we go. There we are. So what's this one?
This is a piece called Garbage Island.
Garbage Island.
Yeah, and
in other words, Washington D.C. Is that right? No.
Yeah. Well, currently we are dumping so much plastic trash into the landfills. It's making its way into the oceans around the world, and we have islands floating around of melting, deconstructing, plastic that is, and other forms of trash that is clogging up birds in beautiful tropical islands around the world. They're washing up on shores. They split their stomachs open and literally pull the bottle caps of all of our plastic water bottles out of them, and they've suffocated and they've died from this stuff. It's catching on to whales right now. It's actually, they're finding the dissolved plastic is growing in seaweed now. It's made it into the actual seaweed itself. It's in fish scales. It's buried within everything that we're doing. So I'm trying to raise people's consciousness on, how we create our products and what we end up doing with them, and how can we live in a world where we just keep throwing shit out? Why do we keep buying shit and throwing it out? What is that all about?
Yeah, it seems like we've been better off reading a little bit of Murray Rothbard in For a New Liberty and how to handle that from a free market perspective. Be very important. Now, I noticed also there on the top of that, you had, if we can bring that back up there, it looked like a reference to Iwo Jima and
Yeah.
the Marines there on Iwo Jima. Tell us a little bit about that and what that means.
So these are the Wall Street bankers declaring
the Wall Street bankers.
businessmen declaring their victory on the top of this pile of success that they've created.
Wow, that's brilliant. Brilliant. And by the way, I would open up the audience also. Any comments or questions that you have, let us know. I think we have another microphone. Oh, we don't have another microphone. Okay, well then we can do something. I think Steve's got an idea. Oh, we can do that? Okay, and then go back to the other microphone. Just in case there would be some questions, let us know. We're going to be looking at this, but give us a holler at it. Okay, well, I see another one here. I see GMO. I see two people going no with their hands up. Talk to us about this one, please.
Yeah, this was in LA. There was a vote, or in California, there was a vote for to label our food with GMO or not, and I don't know what the hell got into everyone, but they voted against it. And
what was the reasoning behind not voting, not knowing whether you're for it or against it, at least being able to know it's there?
It was complicated. I think it had more to do with the complexity in what organics really is, and there's I wasn't really sure on that, but I'm a vegan, and to have clean food is super important to me. It seems like that should be super crucial and important to everyone. And so this was a mural I created to raise awareness. It's actually at a restaurant in Marina del Rey, Culver City, called The Wood. Good food. But yeah, it was depicting the polarity of the type of reality we can choose to have. We can either have a reality that's mass-produced and full of disease and decay and pollution, or we can learn to grow our own food, and we can learn to cleanse our world and have a safer environment to raise our future in. There's no future with the choices we're being offered right now. I mean, we're going to have to, become robots or something and have our consciousness downloaded into them to survive the future, because these bodies they're not going to make it if we keep up with this.
Yeah, it's called taking care of ourselves, taking care of our environment.
Yeah.
It sounds very anarchist kind to me. I mean, you're there already.
Yeah, I mean, we should be custodians to the planet. We should be more responsible and take care of this place. And it's a lot of the Wall Street mentality just looks at it as a resource to mow down and make money off of. And, we need to do something about that.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And so I can see someone could get that and have it there. And I think we have a question here. Adam, you've got a microphone, please.
It was a real joy to watch you paint live here the other night, and as someone who's has an element of creativity to what I do, I often grapple with being in front of an audience versus being in private. And I was wondering if you could talk about a little bit how that affects your creative process and how that fits in to your creative process as a whole. And I wish I could say I spend more time following the trends in the art world, but if you think there's something going on as a trend now with live painting, at least I feel like I've noticed that from a distance that's becoming more of a trending thing.
Yeah.
If that, how that affects the art as a communications medium, and if you see that going somewhere, being an important part of art culture.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I coined the term live art in 1996. A friend of mine asked me to come paint with their band, and since then I've noticed that I brought a bunch of artists into it. It's my friends back in LA, and it's kind of just this synergized thing that's grown. I'm an artist. I should be a recluse or something, a hermit at home, just painting, hiding. Sitting up here is, I get a little nervous and stuff. And so painting live is very much like that. But I turn my back, and I don't have to get stressed out with everyone. But I somehow pull energy from an audience that I can't pull at home. When I'm at home painting, it's got my music, I got my vibe, and I'm just in a zone working. And when I paint in front of people, I seem to have this sense of like, oh, let me show you what this would be like if you were doing it, or let me show you some new techniques, and let me apply this overtone of consciousness or knowledge or history or just current topic, and it's It's been a really easy way for me to open up with people and talk too through my art. I always say life's like life's like an elevator. You know, you go in there and no one wants to talk to you. Everyone's kind of shy and weird. And if I told someone about the government, how they're screwing us or whatever, they'd be like, "Whoa!" But if I came on the elevator with this piece, everyone would be like, "Whoa, what's that?" And I think I said this on Berwick's show. We would walk out the elevator hugging and high-fiving by the end of the time. So it's kind of like how live art helps me. And also, I think that I sit at home and I'm such a perfectionist. I like to sit there with my 20-0 brush and try to get these little eyelashes in there. And there's no time for that doing live art. And so it takes you as an artist and it forces you out of your comfort zone, and it causes you to just like force it out and complete it.
How do you spell that?
But it causes you to go through some artistic hoops that I guess that nothing else can do for you. So it's a huge challenge that I love to take on.
Yeah, I particularly like what you're saying there. That's a way to connect with people. It's a way for us not to come out, and we don't change minds by blasting what we feel is the truth to someone, but rather we reach them, and art is a wonderful way to do that. I think we have another question over here. Yes. Rob.
First of all, congratulations on these pieces. These are beautiful pieces, very
Thank
inspiring.
you.
Also seeing some of the other images you put up there. Yes, give it up for Mear 1. My question has to do with being a professional artist. You've been doing this for a long time, so it's your full-time profession. What is your advice to young people or anyone in this audience or watching online worldwide in terms of becoming a paid artist and making a living out of that? Do you have some suggestions or things you could provide some insight to?
Yeah, get rid of that starving artist thing and getting paid.
Well, a lot of finding your success comes from the choices you make. We can choose to fall into the popularity and just do what other people are doing. And I think that is a temporary wave you can surf. And I like to encourage people to dig deeper and speak from their personal perspective outside of popularity, outside of other people's approval, that's the power of art. And somehow, one of the reasons I'm actually here is to connect with you all. I feel like you guys' consciousness reminds me of what I'm doing with my art. And so, a lot of people have just been co-opted by popularism. I mean, the Hillary Clinton campaign has a whole bunch of artists that are supporting it, and their credibility now falls flat on the floor. It's empty. It doesn't mean anything. It's just like another TV commercial. And so I would say, if you want longevity, if you want to surf that lifelong wave, that you have to accept some hard times. You have to go through the pain and struggles of loss or not being accepted or being misunderstood, and that causes you to rethink what the experience is, what you're doing. And I'm at a point now where I know what I'm doing. I've known for a while, and I think that's crucial, is to just be original. So many artists go out there and grab a popular magazine out the grocery store, take it home, scan the page, Photoshop it up, and put it out. And to me, that is really bastardizing the art form, because it's taking the critical process of self-analyzing situations and coming up with your own conclusions, and it's more concerned with what everyone else thinks. Like, I'm just trying to provide something that you guys already relate to, and that's not what art is about. Art is meant to challenge you. It's meant to, like great literature, great movies, anything great, music, dance, great acting. These things require someone to challenge us and to take us out of our comfort zone.
Mear, you seem like a person that is really confident and content and very happy within yourself. At another time in life, it would have been challenging in the high schools where you were facing the fear. A lot of us go through similar types of things. We have that hurt inside. What helped you to overcome that fear and achieve the comfort and knowing what you are supposed to do and doing it today? What gave you that courage, and what did you go through?
This decade period I went through, towards the tail end of it, I lost my mom. She passed away, and she was my greatest friend and teacher. Andromeda, the hippie, the hippie radical artist. Yeah, I lost her, and Occupy Los Angeles just started up right after that, and so that was kind of like where I went to lick my wounds and plug into some nutrition, but that thing collapsed out, and the last night there, I got sprayed in the face with some toxic stuff from the police that made me sick for 6 months. I lost my voice. I couldn't speak really. I was like this for a long time.
It was from the police.
Yeah, they sprayed me with some gas in my face, and I guess I had my mouth open and whatever. Got really sick from it too. It was raining and cold. It was just like, it was a horrible ending to our whole experience there in Los Angeles. I wasn't camped out there. I lived right up the street, so I came there every day and just spent my time there. And it was, I wasn't getting any work. I was owing my landlord months of rent. I was not eating. I'm already skinny. I was super skinny. And it was just like this tail end of what started in September 11th was just whittling me down like a pencil sharpener. I was almost down to the metal in the eraser. And I fell off a skateboard and broke my painting hand. And that just it just set me back. And I sat down for the next 6 months. I didn't draw or paint. Well, I learned how to paint a little bit with my left hand, which was fun. But it was like, through just this process, I found my spirit, and I pulled.
What was the process that helped you find your spirit?
Pain.
Painting. Doing what is right for you.
Yeah, pain and loss, and just anger and confusion and frustration after all this work, that this is where I ended up. I couldn't believe it, and so I did several different things, from psychedelics to meditation to writing things out and burning them into the wind and doing a little meditation with that, working with a few healers, and the process made me realize this is how you find yourself. This is the truth right here. And so pulled myself out of it.
Good for you.
Here I am.
Well, we really appreciate you doing that. Yes, indeed. We have just a few minutes left. We have one quick question here, please.
Hi. So first of all, I thought it was really crazy. As I'm watching your paintings go across, I was thinking about a GMO painting that I saw in LA, and I was like, I wonder if that was him. And then it came up, and I was like, oh, yes. So I think that's amazing. I wanted to ask, speaking of LA, I know that they're pretty progressive in their ideals and the things that they promote, but do you feel that more recently in years they've been more receptive to your ideas? Have you noticed a shift in that?
Yeah, I would actually say, because of what I've noticed on YouTube, actually, the audience of consciousness expressing levels of truth and different perspectives and alternatives to what we're used to, that has, I said that just a couple of years ago. I was like, I think everyone just woke up to what I'm doing. I think I can re-enter. Because I was, like I said, I got ostracized. And so yeah, I think everyone is totally woke. Well, not everyone, but there is an awakening that's taking place. And I kind of feel like some of it came out of the Occupy movement. Not enough of it came out of September 11th. I was immediately woken up the morning of it, and it seemed to take a long time there, slow process, and I think that hopefully some of my art helped people, along with others, some of my other peers, Robbie Connell, and other artists out there that are doing political work and spiritual work, Alex Gray, philosophical Robert Williams, people that are energizing the thought process with their mind and help, like I said earlier, this permission. I really think everyone's just waiting for someone to give them permission. And so yeah, I think there's a huge awakening taking place right now. And
Absolutely. Well, Mear, we appreciate you so much being with us and being part of our community. Yeah. And we appreciate you for what you have given to us and to the world. Thank you. Welcome aboard in a community where we are seeking together to make the world better, to live in peace, to harmony, to explore options, and to achieve more of what we really should be in life. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mear.
Thank you.
In a world where Antifa riots in the city streets, cops rage out of control, and the leader of the free world is a fat-ass casino owner, one event stands alone to make anarchy great again.
I actually love humanity. That is why I'm an anarchist.
Backwards in the building like we the ceiling, we illin'. No matter who find it appealing, I'm here and I got a feeling that we'll be dealing a lot of pain with the penicillin get drilled in your head. That we are monsters and yeah, we come from the slums and for months we've been pumped, but for once I am now comfortable. I want to grow, I want some more success, and I want to know that greatness can't be rushed, can't be lust, so face the bus. Feel free to hate on us, we lace them up. Dudes, we done paid them up. Keep snakes away from us and safe from us, you might wanna be. Remember when clowns used to make fun of me and that they wanna be me, see me and they run at me. I'm gonna be the greatest, yeah I wanna be, but I am not the one to be the fakest for the sake of being played. I'm here, like I never left, set to hell. Nah, cause I can't just fail, so just prepare your ears, it'll get for real. A taste from here, we will never take the sell, it's grind time. My mind and my thoughts, my highs and my faults, my wins and my loss. When will I fall off? It's a test for me. You are now listening to Veracity. Yeah.
Fuck the media, fuck the banks, fuck drone strikes, fuck tanks, fuck hunger, fuck war, fuck ignoring of the poor, fuck the left, fuck the right, fuck the government. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.